Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thanks very much for watching our earwax removal video today. Oh, this was a really interesting case. I thought you guys would enjoy this one. Basically, this patient came through a few weeks ago while I was on annual leave, and Peter, the other audiologist here, saw this patient and managed to clear one ear, but the other ear they kind of struggled a little bit with. This wax really wouldn't come out. So this lady's been oiling this for the last couple of weeks, come back in to see me on Friday, and we had a look at this wax again. Now what you can see here is we've got this really tough exterior part of this wax. So we've got the standard size Zollner tube in here. So if you're new to the channel, this is the wider of the suction tubes that we use. And we've just popped that on top of this wax, but you'll see we've got this really dry, it almost looks quite crumbly, this surface texture to this wax here. So I can get a grip here, but because there's lots of little sort of bobbles on the top, little lumps and bumps on the top of the surface here, it's difficult to get a really good secure suction grip, which means that when we're trying to hold on to it and pull it forwards, it keeps losing suction, so we can't quite drag it forwards enough. So what I'm doing here is just trying to look for anywhere I can get a bit of purchase on this wax, so anywhere we can get this good suction grip. Now you'll see there's a little bit of sort of dry skin here to the entrance to the canal, and that will become a little bit more important a bit later on, but I won't spoil anything, I won't give you any spoilers today. So you can see that we're just trying to pull this top section of the wax down, and we're just struggling a little bit here to pull that down. So we're just going to use the crocodile forceps. Now we've created a ledge almost at the top here, we've got a grip, but as we pull this back, you'll see that it is quite sort of brittle, the surface here, so it's just breaking little bits away. So now we've got this little gap. Let's try the Jobson horn. So we're just popping over the top and we're just gently pulling down on this wax. Now what I'm doing when I pull down is I'm creating a gap between the sort of roof of the ear canal and the top of the wax, so somewhere we can get the Jobson horn in. But what I can see is as I pull down on this front section, when you look a bit further back, it connects to the roof of the canal, which would indicate to me that we've got a little bit of dry skin that would normally be holding this piece of wax in, which would certainly be consistent with a dry piece of wax around the outside that's hardened around a little bit of skin, which would also be one of the reasons that as we're pulling this, it's not really working its way out very well. So you can see we've got a few of those little dry pieces starting to come away. You can see these lifts of dry skin coming off the side of the canal wall there. And we're just working our way down, alternating between tools. Now, we know that this wax is quite brittle, or that certainly the surface of this blockage here is quite brittle. What we're doing with the crocodile forceps, I'm trying to draw this down, maybe not so much get the whole thing out, because we're not going to get enough of a grip without it shearing away, but just to draw it forwards enough so we can use other tools to get behind it. So you can see I'm switching from the forceps to the Jobson horn, then back to suction, just to try and reposition this wax just to get a better chance of getting this out. Guys, if this is the first of our videos you've ever seen, we post new earwax removal videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9 PM UK time. So if you do enjoy the video, then please consider subscribing. That's my plug done for the day. So you can see with this plug here, when we take a look above, we have got that gap at the top, that little bit of skin still holding it in there. So we're going to switch back to the forceps now, very slowly trying to draw this down. There we are. You'll see with the forceps, you've got jaws there obviously, and the wax at the moment is at this kind of angle. So what we're trying to do is get above the top there and clamp on, but unfortunately to get the top jaw over, the bottom jaw hits the wax and then it just tends to push it further back. So you've got to be really careful just to nip the edge as you draw this down, and when you nip the edge, because it is a little bit more crumbly, that's what's shearing away all the time. So I've got the suction tube on this now, very slowly kind of wiggling this down the canal. You can see that little gap, see the white material at the top there, that's the skin material. This is what's happening with the Jobson horn. Unfortunately at the moment we've got the top of the wax here, the Jobson horn's going in, but it's just clipping against that little bit of attachment to the top of the canal, which is effectively, if you've got, it's just pushing the wax further in every time I try and go over the top of it. And if you just pull it at the front, it's just flicking off the front of the wax. So you can see how this would have been a tough one to do and why we're having to switch tools quite regularly here. We've got the standard size Zollner tube in here again, and we're just trying to see if we can secure any kind of grip here But as you can see, there's little bits of the surface that when you get a grip on, they just lift away from the rest of the blockage here. But a really, really tough one to do. This lady was an absolute trooper. She was 98 years of age, this lady. An absolute diamond. She sat through the whole thing really, really well, bless her. She did so well. So you can see now we're just trying to pull down from the top, trying to loosen any piece of this wax here so we can get a good old grip on it. And you can see it's just starting to kind of tease apart a little bit there. So when we tease one of the little sections off, we'll go back in with the forceps, see if we can grab that section and draw it forwards. It just moved a little bit further down the canal, but not tremendous amount. So back in now with the suction. Let's see if we can loosen another section off this wax. It is always more difficult when you get a plug that's perfectly formed to the shape of the canal. Usually there's enough of a gap to get a tool behind it and draw it through. When you look at the sort of tools we have obviously available to us today, then we're looking at, you know, the St. Bart's hook. Well, it's not going to get over to get behind. The Jobson Horn we know is pushing it further in. The crocodile forceps isn't quite getting the grip without shoving it back further, which is why we're sort of relying quite heavily here on the standard size ulnar tube. We've got a good grip there. We're just drawing this down the canal. You can see it moving towards the entrance to the ear canal there. Now it's got stuck, so I'm just seeing if I can roll it. You know, let's see if we can pull this wax or work on an edge to spin it, because you'll have a smoother side to the wax and top and bottom to the wax where it's been resting against the canal wall, which is usually a good place to get a good grip. So we've pulled it forwards. Watch what happens when we put the Jobson Horn in though and try to get above it to roll it forwards. Look what happens. You see what I mean about it just rolling back? And if you try and take the front, it just smooths that front layer off. Really tough old difficult one to do, this one. It's, you know, sometimes when you're doing a wax removal that is a bit tougher like this one, sometimes you have to kind of sit down and think, okay, right, I've tried that. What can we try next? But sometimes you just have to look at things in a slightly different way, and maybe sometimes use a tool in a slightly different way than you would normally use it, and that tends to make a difference in a lot of these wax removals. So we can see now we've drawn it back down. It's closer to the outside part of the ear canal. I'm trying to lift from all the sides, trying to spin or break a bit off so I can get a good grip with the forceps there. A lot more olive oil gone in again. That's going to help to get it, if we do get it moving again, it'll help it to stop it from sticking. It'll just slide across the skin really, really well. We do get this plug out, by the way. I'll give you that spoiler just so you don't get a bit too kind of frustrated with it. But it's just starting to move around the outside edges here. But you can see it just gets so far and then wedges right on the outside part of the ear canal. Ooh, there's a little bit of movement there. You can just see it to that top corner. That whiter material is the section that's against the canal wall. So you can see how we're just starting to loosen some edges here. Back in with the forceps. Can we get a grip? Just got a grip on the bit we've loosened, but as we pull, something is holding this in. Something's got to be holding this back by this point, because you're getting a good grip. You should have seen a little bit of movement, or you at least see it tipping forwards with that forceps. So something's got to be holding on to this at the back. Let's see if you can guess what that is, okay? It kind of shocked me, actually, I've got to be honest, when I took it away. I'm not going to spoil it, I promise. I'm really trying really so hard not to give you spoilers. So you can see now, you just got the edge here. We're trying to work this around, really trying to spin or move or loosen any part of this, but it is just solid. It is just not budging. You can see what I'm doing here, a very gentle kind of wiggle, which is just holding onto that one piece just to draw it back, but it's not really budging. So I've put the fine end on now. Now I've done this a couple of times before. When you get this hard bits like this, fine end, I can get in above it and I can pull down using the side of the fine end, because it's much thinner than the Jobson Horn, but you've also got that suction working for you as well. I find that works really well when you get a really stuck piece like this. So you can see I'm working all the sides, drawing down with the fine end, using the suction, using the side of the fine end to try and lever this out. You see how sort of floppy the skin is in here as well, because it's collapsing down in front of that suction very quickly. We've got a good grip there on the outside edge, so I'm using the fact that this plug is so hard against itself. using it along the side. You can see it's drawing down now. It's starting to break away. It's starting to come forwards. There we are, using the side. You can see a lot of whiter material at the top, which is skin material. But just by the way this bends and moves, this looks more like skin than wax to me. So let's see if we can grab anything with a forceps. There we are. Look at that starting to come forwards a little bit there now. We've drawn that whiter section there at the top. Let's see if we can get another grip on this. Let's try that leading edge now. It's starting. There, see that whiter material down that one side? That's dead skin, okay? That's what's been holding this in place. But look at this plug where we pull it out now. We're trying to pull this out, but it's just not budging. That dead skin is really holding this in. But have a good look at this plug where we do work this out. We're going to pop the Jobson horn in now. There we are. Get down the side of that softer white skin. Look at that coming away now as we roll this forwards. Look at all that dead skin that's accumulated behind that plug. All that white material is just, this is literally a plug of dead wet skin. You can see it moving down now. As we flick this over, we've actually turned it through 180 degrees. All that white sluffy material you can see there coming away, that's all dead skin. Look at that plug coming away there. And we'll pick that up now so you can have a look at it. The front end was that darker material. We'll have a good look at the eardrum now. When you look at the eardrum, you can actually see the outline of the eardrum there. You can see where that whiter, dead material was sitting right in the corner there and almost right down on top of the eardrum. Bless her, this poor lady was really struggling. You can, it's a centimetre and a half, just over ½ an inch there. That dark material you can see to the left-hand side, that was that harder material at the surface. But all that white material stuck behind it, that was just one big skin plug. That's all that was in that ear. And that's why it was holding on so tightly, is because this dead skin was still attached to the canal wall. So as hard as we were trying to draw it out, that skin was holding on to everything in there. Whew, I think I need to sit down now, guys. Yeah, I really hope you enjoyed that, guys, as much as I did voicing it over. I hope you found that one interesting. I was thinking of you guys when that one came out as well, when I saw the patient. But as always, guys, take care of your ears, take care of yourselves, and take care of one another. And I shall see you again on Wednesday. Bye, guys.